And we are here at the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships Division 1 pool play here. We have Newcastle Wagon in the dark kit on offense, Umami, white kit out from Canberra on defense. This is Avril Tam here, joined by Daniel Clinton. It's a pleasure to be here with you on the stream in the surprisingly not so sunny Beanley today as Wagon make their way up on the open side. And the defense well covered, stall count rising, and that is a leg block, no look by Umami. And they get a look at an early break, Daniel.
Yeah, it looked good, and then it didn't. Wagon stringing together a nice 5-pass possession, but it just kind of collapsed.
So stall count again rising, but Apple coming up to rescue. So looking at the inside, squeezes that one through to Tsang. And a nice high backhand here. Goes the continuation. Hodson with the disc in hand, and they move it swiftly side to side. Now Wagon starting to close down the spaces. And a round break backhand keeps the toes in, and that is a first score and a break. Dana Warnock there with the goal.
Nice start for Umami, getting on the board. The turnover with the hold. Down the stretch they go. It's worked out well for them there, and a nice start to the game. Game 2 here on day 1.
Yeah, so this is our first look at Pool B. We had our earlier game, that was Half Moon against Manly Mixed. That was in Pool A. Make sure you stay tuned to Ulti TV on YouTube. This live stream brought to you in conjunction with the Australian Flying Disc Association. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. As we said, slightly grey conditions, not too much sun to speak of, and pretty much no wind at all, making it very tantalising conditions for the offence.
And a challenging tournament, I think it's going to be for Wagon. You with quite a short roster. They started the season with about 20 names, 10 for each gender matching player, but since through attrition have ended up in a much shorter spot. So it'll be a challenge for them, but we'll see how they go.
Yeah.
As Luke Prosser catches this one.
Yeah, it's been a long season, this one, ending a little later than expected, all the way in November. And a high release backhand gets them out of trouble. Very heated defense here by Umami. So the Pies working it up nicely, spots an open player. And again, just working it side to side here. Beautiful spot up to Lavis. Lavis with a huck. Receiver didn't know it was coming, but goes to ground, reaching for the disc, swatted away by the Umami defense.
Well, you love to see it. Adam Frendo getting after that in a big way. And he got there. He's gone with the two-hand catch. Yeah, it just in and out of the hands.
Yeah, and the inside shoulder, that was very smart space taken by Kluken there, just to get in the way of that reception. Between the disc and the receiver, solid foundations of good defense. So Umami with another chance to break here. They've got an ISO player downfield, but unable to get open. Opts instead for the lateral shot. Dominator movement now, but the continuation not there. It's the disappointment on his face. Shakes a no to the second strike. Goes the third, but that one is bobbled out of hands.
I think we'll put that down there as a block for Annabelle Balassa. Getting on the inside, as you said.
Very short field for Wagon now. Dumps back. Still lateral movement continues, and they go all the way to the other. A fantastic layout there to save possession. And McCarthy and Prosser working together. Prosser shakes across to get free defender. Lavis now with an outside-in backhand break to the receiver in Adam Frendo, and Wagon getting on the board to pull up to 1-1.
Chris Lavis, one of the Well, he is the eldest statesman out there for Pie Wagon. This is possibly the youngest Pie Wagon mixed team we've seen, at least in the last 10 years. It feels like none of the big names that we're used to seeing out of a Newcastle team. Chris Lavis is back out there, and that backhand break from Chris Lavis is just his bread and butter. Despite being a tall man, he has a very low centre of gravity and able to throw that around break very, very skillfully.
And Brittany McCarthy coming off her Firetails campaign as well, so showing that she's an elite player. I'm sure they'll be working a lot of disc through her. McCarthy, number 19, one to watch as well.
Mike McKee now to pull for Pie Wagon. Lefty thrower.
As you said, the big lefty pull gets some good purchase and plenty of float all the way to the back, but too far out. Only a couple of meters there short. Umami taking their time. Looks like they've got a split stack. So the two handlers starting in the backfield. Interesting setup, and now there's an ISO player in the middle. Coming up all the way to the brick mark.
Some sort of strange horizontal offense at the moment. It's not quite a U.
And immediately a strike long. Looked off. Elects for the dump. Moving it laterally to the far side. Too low there for the receiver. And that is a let off there by Umami to give the disc straight to Pie Wagon. Slowly picks it up, surveys the options, cuts on the open and the break side. Now the strike goes upfield. Both looked off. Goes instead for a huck in hope. And that one again goes out the back.
Josh Bolton just stuck on an island there and had no real options. Had to just press one to the end zone. I think that's the right decision given the situation. You don't really want to turn it over short. At least put it in the air. Give your receivers a chance to go get it.
Yeah,
he did that.
I think there were too many cuts coming at the same time, which meant for very crowded space. The defenders everywhere just need to be a bit more coordinated and definitive in who's taking the space. So Umami here will again bring it up on the defending end zone line. And they've gone with that same split stack but isolated middle structure. This time the undercut is hit. Rolls on the ground to keep it in hand. And the around jump is cut off, so has to squeeze it up this open side, but goes through about 3 pairs of hands. And Umami keep the disc alive. And that was a lot of contact here on the dump cut, but it turnover eventuates, so there's no foul called. A little bit of a messy point here, turnovers both ways.
Either team able to really find that clean offensive possession yet. Bolton's going to catch a hot one from Mike McKee.
And we see a nod here by Ziegman. Diglex for the jump back to Bolton. McKee in support, but goes the around break. That's a nice one to Kerr, but again, too low to the ground. So at the moment, Pie Wagon just seemingly either overthrowing too much at the back or underthrowing too low to the ground.
Give him a chance. Got to get it up higher than that.
And a big shot goes up. And that is a huck, but defended well there. Winchester in the space.
Jake Winchester, he's got a great motor and deceptive closing speed. Five turnovers for the point. It's an arm wrestle at the moment.
Yeah, and a vertical stack by Pie Wagon. They coordinate the cuts better, but a little bit too late now. Bolton in his defending end zone squeezes an inside flick upfield to Winchester. Winchester a long option, searching for Kerr, and Kerr converts. Pie Wagon with the score.
Hell of a throw by Jake Winchester. He's just thrown that perfectly. And Chris Kerr, all he had to do was keep running. Jake Winchester, that is a massive, massive, massive throw and a big-time play.
Wagon certainly liking the look of their long options. You can see once they get that power position or that undercut in the middle, they're immediately looking long, just trusting the receivers to get open. And that one does pay dividends after several times of trying. As you said, that was 5 turnovers in the point alone. So a little bit scrappy to get started despite the relatively unwindy conditions, although you can do see a little bit of wind just shuffling through the flags on that far side now, Dan.
And you almost expect it to be a little bit windier because of how still it's been. It surely can't stay that still the entire day. And
the wind is slightly going in that left to right direction on your camera, so some of those hucks have been slightly overthrown because they haven't adjusted for the small gust. So it might be a chance of who can titrate their throws in these conditions a little better. So this one's going to be a little bit of a challenge, an upwind pull here by the female matching player, but they do well to get that float, a reasonable distance to start. So Umami offense, completely open player. There's Joyce there, uses Apple, a nice inside shot to Bailey. And still using their flicks well. Oh, and that's the inside flick, a pick is called. Disc will go back. So Byron with disc in hand in the red zone. It's coming in on 4. Byron fakes the flick. Oh, and that's a very close bid by Zygmunt, but Umami maintained possession. Some 1-2 movement with the handlers, an upline strike, and that is point and score. Joyce with the goal.
Great movement there. Justin Byron taking control of the offense. They've just done enough to maintain possession of the Frisbee, just keep working on this Wagon defense, find the open shot that they needed. And Wagon unable to stop this team out of Canberra. I think as the game has developed over the years, we're starting to see, well, more of that to start with, that kind of break throw that's kind of not a break throw. It's almost, it's very reminiscent of the Japanese game, how they tend to throw in that lane between, just off the mark shoulder. Still kind of on the open side, but and often with a bit of outside in that brings it back more onto that break side and then opening up that break side with not really a break throw.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's nice to see Australian Ultimate kind of develop more in the past, like say 10 or so years in terms of the skill ability across the teams. I feel like in the past maybe a bit handler heavy, but taking some inspiration from some of the international teams now, adding some different throwing repertoire. And also I think the throwing depth across each team is a much higher skill level now. And a big one rips, identifies a completely free receiver.
Wow. Wow, Britt McCarthy there has seen Luke Prosser streaming and then just put it on him. That is a humongous throw. That's 2 huge throws by this Wagon's offense. Jake Winchester in the last time, and now Britt McCarthy. Incredible.
2-throw score. Like you say, just spots it up. Obviously liking this downwind direction. This time just calibrating the huck there to sit nicely in the wind. And Wagon, after getting broken early, they look to settle things in. Beautifully done by Prosser there with the wheels.
I think one of the strengths of this Wagon team is their athletic ability combined with their throwing ability. Sometimes in some teams, there's a real delineation between the runners and the throwers. With this Wagon team, they all can run and they can all throw. So potentially a real strength, because defensively, you've got to mark everything, and that makes it doubly as hard. because Luke Prosser, you know, you're expecting him to be a handler, and now all of a sudden he's streaming to the end zone. That's a tough gig. That's
a very nice pull in the slight upwind direction here. Pressure on the first pass already. Wagon now settling into their matches. Oh, and again, looking for a block. Umami squeeze it up the open side.
I think Josh Bolton had a bit of a bid on that first pass there. I would love to see him leave his feet, try and get after it.
Yeah, Joyce.
Umami, keep it.
So moving it side to side still. Sleeth now. A nice break continuation cut and whips the inside flick there. Joyce with goal number 2 for Umami.
And Justin Byron again with the throw. I think he's got a favourite receiver in Joyce. Yeah. Those two combining again for the second time.
Copy, paste and save indeed. And Umami saving some smooth offense for game 1 here. That's 2 holds in a row now, both teams settling in to this game.
Well, it was a relatively late start for I-Beam. They didn't have that first game, I don't think.
Yeah, so it's Pool A games for the first time slot, and so this is the first chance for Pool B to get on the park.
So a later start this morning, which meant that they were here as the first game was kind of kicking off, and chance to go on a coffee run, have some breakfast. And now you're on the live stream, and we were talking in the first game about the consequences, and everyone goes through to the bracket play. This is largely for seeding, so potentially a chance to set up some structures, practice some things, try some things out, as perhaps the real games are going to start in the next day or so.
McCarthy and Lavis working up between them. And some heated pressure here on the dump defense. Moves it laterally. Oh, and again, an inside shot here. Hits the receiver in on the chest. And a long option, but the deep is covered this time. McCarthy unable to shake 3 of the 2 Umami defenders.
Frendo just too far out in front of McCarthy, who couldn't track it down. The wind, such as it is, there's not really much, but it is blowing from the left of your screen to the right.
So again, an isolated cutter here in this space, squeezes it to the open side. Hodson has to wait, and eventually an upline from Warnock. Hodson again. Nice gainer to Schmidt. Patel. Warnock now. The stack very far away, gesturing them to work under. That one is a little overthrow and intercepted, but there is a call.
Interesting situation here, I think. Jack Humphreys has got a little bit of a case. You know, it looked like just 2 players, 1 line, where they were both coming together. Humphreys is going to hand over the Frisbee. An uncontested foul.
Accepted foul, yep. So, on the far side, bring it in. And the handler dump is well covered now, so having to go the bailout option. Oh, and almost scooped up off the toes. Wagon with another bite. Oh, leading McCarthy in front to get power position, but the long option wasn't there. Lavis just snatches it in front of Kluken's hands. And they work it on the break side, squeezing it in the line. Frendo centers now. McCarthy fakes that inside, throws the inside. Prosser. Little dump back to Lavis. So Wagon having to work hard to gain meters. They do now. Again on that inside break channel. McCarthy fakes and then just throws into space. A score, another one for Wagon.
Well, it got to the stage where Umami had held up really well on defense. They'd stopped all kinds of momentum, and Wagon forced to dig deep. Adam Frendo there, young man, has really come into his own as a Frisbee player. I believe he's still studying at uni out of the Newcastle Nudists, as they call them.
Yeah, 2 goals to his name already. You can see him working hard as a cutter, mostly making sure he gets into good space. And that was just a trust throw. McCarthy went, the space is there, I'm just going to throw it and trust my receiver to go for it.
Largely thrower initiated, wasn't it, really? Where she just puts it into space, makes a really nice throw. And Adam Frendo is the only receiver who could possibly get to that. There was no one else around. So 4-4 here overall. A interesting game. We're heavy on the turnovers, but in terms of results on the scoreboard, it's still dead even.
Yeah, just getting the job done. Umami, they are up 1 break on Wagon at the moment, but it does feel a little bit like Wagon have more of the momentum.
There is starting to be some more wind, which may make things interesting. In the past, changing conditions, especially windy conditions, was something that did affect games greatly. So we'll see how that plays out over the next 15 minutes or so as Umami back on offense.
So Apple, there's plenty of pressure, and the huck goes up in front of the receiver. That is 22, Jack Donnelly. I swear, a second ago he was in the handler space. Strikes up line all the way to the end zone, and a very efficient score by Umami to bring it up to 3-4.
What a tough cut to guard, as you say, coming from deep in the field. He had to really get motoring on that one, as Winchester, I watched him, he was doing all the right things on D. He was close, but then the throw came with such velocity.
Yeah, look at that defense. Very tight, but again, that trust throw, I don't think Winchester could have done much more. That throw was just too accurate and pinpoint to stop. The most efficient and comfortable that Umami offense have looked.
I mean, on that angle too, like, even if Winchester elevates, gets horizontal, like, you're still probably macking that towards the end zone because of how the disc is coming in and your hand is meeting the Frisbee. Hard to make any kind of play on that. It's just too fast, yeah. I think. Not enough time to really set up, I think, defensively.
And, you know, both defenses opting for match defense so far in this game. As you see, with the slight change in conditions, we may see some more variation in the defensive looks, particularly if the long game continues to be such, utilised so well by both teams. Lavis, McCarthy, just 1-2 with few meters. And an undershot is hit. A nice open side. And they move it up well to Prosser. Looking for the dump. McCarthy strikes up line to get out of the space, which opens up a lovely inside channel to Lavis. And again, open side shot. Still with the disc in hand. Elects for the dump. McCarthy looked off. Opts for the outside in, around break, backhand, and a beautiful score by Wagon. That is Annabelle Balassa, who is heavily involved in this point in those undercuts, gets some reward for effort.
Luke Prosser, as he let that go, you saw he didn't like the throw that he made. It popped up, but it works out in the end as Wagon come to fives. I want to come back to something you mentioned about potential defensive approach, especially with fast-flowing offenses, efficient offenses that are only throwing a couple of passes. I think there might be something to it as Byron and Bethune on Umami look ready to press it down the field. So maybe Wagon, they need to consider some sort of transitional defense where they have someone sagging off the back of the stack, covering that deep space just for perhaps the first 3 or 4 passes, force Umami into a different offensive possession and then play from there.
Yeah, or potentially a little bit of switching as well, making sure that they've got good communication between each other. So if someone starts to strike long, whoever's the deepest kind of peels off to deter that. So Umami now with the offensive point. Move it up quickly. We're on this close sideline through Sleeth, and now on the far sideline through 1. Oh, and a nice high grab. That was very well taken down by Doe. And good movement there to Bailey. Sleeth again gets involved. And they just move things side to side, inching slowly up the field. Not a lot of pressure on Sleeth at the moment. Byron, a real axis handler here for this line. A nice shot. Chen Willett. 1 now with a throw and just manages to squeeze the score through to Donnelly.
That's good. They they showed they can do it both ways. As Wagon, they do bring a bit of a softer switching match defense. It works out for Umami as they go to a more organic kind of structure where they're cutting out of the stack, clearing, resetting, and Justin Byron, a big part of that. So, an interesting game this is turning out to be, as we've only had the 2 turns in the last 5 or so points. Really cleaned up compared to the first few points where both teams started really
treasuring the disc a little more.
They just look like rust, to be honest with you. Both of these teams coming from New South Wales. Wagon, of course, from Newcastle, and Umami out of the nation's capital. Not Sydney, Canberra, for those playing the home game.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if people chose to fly or drive.
It's that interesting middle distance, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, here's Luke Prosser with the Risby.
Yeah. As the open side shots are covered well, you can see a little bit of poaching in the lane. Oh, and a nice look. Balassa now raffles it up to that break side, and a long option goes up. Prosser is there, but also his teammate.
Jack Humphreys.
Humphreys with the score, and Wagon, another efficient hold.
I love that out of Chris Lavis. Winding the clock back, just ripping a big old flick, putting it out into the fat side and letting these receivers go track it down. That's a really nice play. And I think, same comment, other foot now, where Umami maybe need to think about some sort of defensive wrinkle to slow down Wagon, as we've seen a series of hucks from different players where it's been hard to stop because you can see the cuts going in the foreground, and then Lavis.
I think a couple of times Umami defenders were caught prioritising that open lane a bit too much, and that exposed that inside break flick, which Wagon have thrown, like you said, a lot, right? And once they get it on that break side, they have no hesitation continuing to that break side, which means that they end up with a bigger open side lane to throw into. And that's how, as we see the chain of movement here goes over to that break side, and Lavis just has so much space now to attack.
Yeah, I don't think Luke Pross has thrown it to the open side once this game yet.
No. So Umami now trying to make a breakthrough of their own. Apple, very reliable handler. Sleeth now, they left her very open, and a power position play. And again, a huck in front, no stride broken. A beautiful reception there by Justin Byron.
Just strolled into it, and then low and hard. Jake Winchester again not doing too much wrong defensively, but the result is an Umami score. I really do feel that there needs to be some defensive wrinkles here. Either team, they need to bring something different, because we see where this ends up, right? Sleeth through hands, and then just strolling into it. Winchester. I think that there needs to be some help over the top. There needs to be some help on the mark. There needs to be something.
I agree.
Maybe even something. Sure, if you don't want to go zone because it's not as windy as, would really help that. Maybe you start to bring something like straight up, or you go straight up for half the field, or maybe even you go a return force. Something to try and clog the throwing lane. Because at the moment, Umami and Wagon are both getting everything that they want on offense, and both defenses are struggling mightily.
Defense wins games, right? I think, as you said, the offense on both sides is looking very smooth, so it's about which defense can get to work and make some inroads in this game, trading holds for some time now.
It's defense that gets you the opportunity, right? Like, you need to get the frisbee out of the offense's hands. It's the only way that you can get those scores.
Just a pretty classic vertical stack here. You see Umami maybe setting up a bit of a bracket defense.
There is definitely a bracket as defender off the front peels onto Adam Friendo as he makes his cut. Prosser is going to have free arms.
As Wagon find the holes through the bracket. And they've done well to hold up some of the flow. You can see the containment, the dump defenders just sagging off slightly downfield to deter those forward gains. So McCarthy working together with Prosser.
Wagon in a bit of trouble now. They've found themselves on the sideline. Friendo's going to get caught underneath it. It sails over him to Humphreys.
So again with Prosser, they've made a few meters forward, but I like this defensive look by Umami, just frustrating Wagon and frustrating enough to generate the turn, although there is some contact and a foul called.
Looked like Downey had just come across the line there, and there was a slight bump in the lead up, which I think is, Downey.
Zygmunt had a bit on that, and potentially some legs a little tangled as well. It's accepted these days, not uncontested.
Showing my age, Avril.
So, they do start with the disc. Dump backwards. Prosser fills from the stack. Again, just working it to that break side, opening up that channel. You can see Umami, plenty of heads up here on defense, just trying to get in the way of the next biggest threat. McCarthy now fills. Moves it up. And an open side shot. Sneaks it through. Wagon. That is Danielle Adams with her first goal on the board.
Only a matter of time, really, with Dani Adams. She is a dangerous receiver, and she has been lining up the front cone. Umami doing a great job up to this point, covering those cuts. However, much like death and taxes, Dani Adams can't be stopped indefinitely. An interesting wrinkle, I think, for Umami. It really worked there. I think the things that worked well was actually getting Wagon to this near side. They created an opportunity. Prosser forced into a very, very long-range throw to try and open the field back up.
Yeah, you can see this last shot. There were actually two Umami defenders. You can see that help trying to come in to affect the eventual score. But that sometimes is what happens, is that when you end up with a short field to defend, you just don't have that extra time to read the disc and get in the way. And sometimes just reverting to a really hard match when you get to that crucial point can save those scores. But
Galaxy point.
Yeah, Umami now working well. They're just squeezing it up the open side at the moment. And Wagon, maybe a return on the force. There might be a little bit of switching here. And there's a call downfield.
I think you're right. It does look like there is a force middle on.
So both teams listening to your advice, Daniel. Trying to...
There's history. There's history of the force middle between Newcastle and Canberra. A very, very well-known game that I'll talk about in the halftime, perhaps.
So Umami, just the one handler back. Sleeth comes to Phil, looked off, elects to go for a nice inside channel there. And Umami on the doorstep. One now with disc in hand to Joyce across. And a little jinking move to get free by Byron. And keeps it low to one. That one's going to go low and out of bounds. So Umami, a wasted opportunity.
He's just completely overcooked it. Too much. He didn't need to do that much with the Frisbee, but results in a turnover. So Wagon, they will have a possession here on Galaxy Point.
So
Chance to take half.
So an isolated cutter immediately streaks deep. Goes for the lateral dump. McKee, a high release lefty backhand. And again, Wagon, this break side utilised with perfection. That is a high shot by McCarthy, but well read by Renica. And a run on for Kurt. Oh, and Bolton dives, but the disc goes to ground. Umami with another shot here at Galaxy Point. Donnelly works it upfield. And they move it quickly, more than half field now. Donnelly again demanding the disc, and a pick downfield holds up play. So the rain now starting to fall. Donnelly moves it up to Sleeth. Centres the disc to Byron. Donnelly now. Byron. Plenty of faking. Oh, and that is a hand block there. Chris Kerr getting low. Expecting that around break, reading it like a book.
Come across and covered it well. He knew it was coming and just was all one way.
Winchester, far sideline. Undercut, bounces out of the hands, but the second attempt here. McKee. Bolton. Oh, and this one pops a little higher than anticipated. Stays in. Winchester, narrow channel to McCarthy. That one slips out of hands. The rain now falling. The disc now slippery.
This is what was forecast. We knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time now. The disc, as you say, getting slippery.
On the close sideline, so flat force there to get things going. Move it up quickly to Byron. Inside to Sleeth, but the scraps by one. Number one, jumps back. Byron, this time the break around is successful. And Umami scored Galaxy Point. 8-7 up against Wagon.
Well, there we go. That's an end to the half, and great showing, I think, by Wagon. I don't think you're too upset if you're Wagon, and I don't think you're too excited either if you're Umami. Yep, you've done what you needed to do. You took half, but in the scheme of things, very, very tight in this game. I think it's not too much to say here. It's just speed in the wet. Bolton forced to go low to his right.
Yeah, and the rain falling this last point. We've had a bunch of holds now after a few breaks early, and the rain just falling and making that really tough Galaxy Point, but Umami, they remain one break up in this game. Make sure you stay tuned for a very exciting second half in this pool play match. Umami up 8-7 against Newcastle Wagon.
Some fun and games here, Avril. It seems that we have somehow got the score wrong. According to the game advisor, it's 7-7 now. So we must have made an error somewhere along the lines. Wagon are 0, and it seems like we're the ones that are struggling.
We're the ones that need a bit more of the coffee this morning. So Umami put on a zone here. Lavis working with Prosser. McCartney hanging out in the back as well. All right, and they work their way up nicely through the cup. So Prosser there, McCarthy available. Back to Prosser on the close sideline. Around break, Lavis puts it in front of Humphreys. And Newcastle just working their way through some small ball here. Balassa now gets involved. Across to Prosser. McCarthy, very high velocity fake, gets the cup moving. But the disc not moving too much still. Prosser covered there. And they have transitioned to, it looks like a match, but finds the hole through to Lavis, and Balassa there with the score.
I think that's half.
That's half. We've checked with the game advisors. The score was 7-all. We are now 8-7, and we'll try and do a little bit better to make sure we keep track properly of the score. As the rain falls in beautiful Beenleigh in Queensland. Make sure you stay tuned for some more ultimate action on the Ulti TV YouTube channel. This live stream brought to you in partnership with the Australian Flying Disc Association. We'll see you on the other side of this pool play match between Umami and Newcastle Wagon. And we are back in the second half. Newcastle Wagon taking Galaxy Point on Umami. This is a top of the table by seeding Pool B matchup here. Umami on offense. That one slips through the fingers of Chen. And Wagon with a chance to go up with a break. First point of the second half. Not a lot of movement downfield. So engages the dump. Clears out. Balassa with the fill here. Secures disc in hand. But again, all the options covered. So Bolton now. And an inside shot. Too zippy for Reneka to grasp. Umami get another shot. And Joyce, a nice gainer upfield. Apple now looks for the centering pass, but a pick or foul is called. Chen Ulet suspiciously free in the fill space.
Generally the giveaway, with someone streaming free. It's either a pick or one hell of a move. It seems like it was the former.
So Chen Ulet with disc in hand gives the nod, but throws the lateral. Sleeth, a pick again called on this field cut. So a little bit of a few stoppages now in play.
Yeah, the spacing down the field for the offense is quite close, so it is creating some picks.
Sleeth now fakes to continue, but boomerangs it back to Apple. Sleeth now completely free, and they move it up well through to Bolton. Sleeth. Bethune. Apple. Surveys her options. Joyce runs over to that backhand side, and a little one to Sleeth. A little too far to the side. Mickael to pick up. Lefty looking for a long backhand huck, but elects to throw the high release instead. Reneka. Backwards to Bolton. Upwards to Mickael. And a travel there, corrected quickly. And a diving bid attempt by Bolton. A big shot goes up, but falls short. Snaffled up by Sleeth. And Umami move quickly now. They can sense the opportunity. One throws one to the clouds, but well read by Bolton. Umami with a score to level things up.
Yeah, just coming back to the Winchester throw. Water affected, out of the hand. It just wobbled and had no punch behind it. And I think similar kind of thing for one as well, where it's gone straight up in the air. But well read in the end, as Umami get themselves a score. So, working through the team lists, we've got Umami on the screen at the moment. Bigger roster combining lots of the best players out of Canberra. Some notable names, Kate Bailey. She's had a quiet one so far. She's normally good for quite a few scores. Bronte Sleeth, we've been talking about her lots. And on the male matching side, it's Justin Byron, who's been, well, seemingly in everything. It's a moist old day out there at the moment.
Yeah, those early breaks. Early in the match, it was Umami who'd got up 2 breaks to 1 for Wagon, so they still are noses in front, 1 break in front, and might prove to be pivotal in the context of this game. It was just the last couple of points of the first half that started to be rain affected, and as you can see, the throws not as crisp as before. Lavis moves it across. Humphreys asking McCarthy to get low, but she obliges. And a big lefty backhand huck over the stack, but only to Umami. It's an interesting choice by McCarthy to throw that option.
I'm not sure what she was seeing. There's a lot of space out there and threw into it pretty well. In the end, it comes the way of Umami.
And a very flat mark here. So goes for an under option, slides to the ground. And just a slash across here by the handler. Points, but it's not on. There is a pick called. Moves it up. Warnock. Oh, and that one is slightly behind, but well trapped. Oh, and just a cold drop. Very unfortunate there by Rosie Happ. In another, the hands spent before she had it.
And that is the challenge. In rain-affected conditions, the disc gets real slippery. Can be hard to catch it, especially when it's fired in there with a bit of pace.
Oh, beautiful throw by McCarthy. Just leads Lavis in front. It's quickly up to Humphreys now. Back to Lavis. The Stack quite far away. The movement coming from the front of Stack. Oh, and keeps the toes in, does Winchester. So Pie Wagon with another score on the board.
And Chris Lavis with another walk-off score. He was already headed to the sideline after he released it. He kind of didn't look whether or not Adam Frendo had caught it. Nice play by the veteran.
Just undo. So as we look here on the Pie Wagon roster, lots of familiar names to Australian Ultimate. So Chris Lavis, Danielle Adams there. But spreading the load, I've been impressed with Annabelle Balassa as well. She's getting a lot of disc, working very hard, particularly in that cut under space. We know Brittany McCarthy's an absolute star, but Luke Prosser is as well, very steady in the backspace. And they've also got a couple of Queenslander pickups as well, as you said, ravaged by injury, unfortunately, this season. So Zoe Reneker and Rebecca Zigman stepping up to help out. So Umami work it up nicely to Bolton. Very flat mark for match defense by Pie Wagon to try to deter those long options. Bolton uses his full body to catch that one, but Apple unable to reel that one in. So Pie Wagon continuing to build on this momentum. They haven't had a break to show for it just yet, but it feels that they are in a slightly better position than Umami at the moment. Let's see if they can make it count. McKee floats one up to Bolton. Bolton goes a long option. He's got a 2-on-1. The one almost taps in and out of the hands.
It was the right throw by Bolton. If you're going to throw it like that. And Chris Kerr has climbed up there. And nearly brought it down. The throw was good in the end. It left the defenders with not much to work with.
Umami again have gone for this split stack with the isolated middle cutter, but it hasn't really worked for them. They're having to go for that handler set because it's covered by the defense. So I don't know about this offensive structure. It's not particularly aggressive and hasn't really paid dividends. Spreading the defense out means that they can actually in good position to cover.
Yeah, the thing about any kind of horizontal is it's really good about getting the disc moving down the field. The thing that it really struggles with is actually resets. And right now, Umami are buying the worst of both worlds with this horizontal set because they're not getting it going and then they're struggling with the reset because of the inherent weaknesses of a horizontal set.
Yeah, I mean, with the horror, you're trying to make use of either the under or the deep space, right? You're attacking both sides, but here, they haven't made any meters. Wagon has a short field to work with. Bolton just shoots an easy open side throw. Sarah Sanders on the board with the first goal, and Wagon finally making their conversions, using their skill to get back that break, and we are... Sorry, that was a hold. Goodness me, trying to keep track of the score. Really need a little bit more caffeine in the veins this morning, Daniel.
At the moment, it's so rain affected that and it's so even between these two teams. It's hard to split them and to know really who's on top.
It is a break, right? I'm not going crazy. It is a break. Wagon have broken to go up 10-8. Okay, yeah, I'm not going crazy. I'm not going crazy. Confirmed by the game advisor. Thank you, Aiden. So yes, finally some reward for effort. It just felt like Wagon have had the better composure of this game, better completions, good flow and momentum, but they just hadn't been able to convert that break on the board. Now they peg it back. It's 2 breaks all, even Stevens. It is... They've pegged back the break, and now they're a break up 10-8. So if they can maintain this composure until the end of the game, they're looking in the prime seat, whereas Umami have to clean up their offense. It's just, as we talked about in that last point, this split stack situation is not working for them.
And I think it's also combining as well with the force that has changed for the Wagon, where they've gone to this, it looks a little bit straight up at times, and it also looks a little bit force middle. So it seems to be creating enough problems for Umami that the two things are not, they're mixing like oil and water at the moment.
Yeah, and they've actually opted for a zone defense now, but they squeeze one over the cup. So Umami now with some flow, one on the doorstep. That's a high shot, but score held. Dana Warnock gets a well-needed offensive point for Umami.
Well, that's some fast offense, and Luke Prosser, I thought he was going to get a block 3 times, and then he's just not ended up with the frisbee each time. See here the combination down the near side of the field.
And it was the shot by Lila Apple, the bladey flick over the top of that cup, gets it to that sideline only just, and then Prosser and Warnock have full control here with the 1-2-1-2. As you said, a little bit too much air on that last one by one, but makes it work. He's had a few of those slight missed throws, but been completed.
I think we've got a little bit of an opportunity to talk about the history of the force middle between Newcastle and Umami. There's a famous game from the men's open season where Newcastle were losing, and then they brought out a force middle, and it's one of the great stories that I-Beam like to tell themselves because it shakes their own hand in that, a very, very strong Fishwick team had no answers and really struggled on that day. So a great victory for I-Beam. So perhaps some experience knowing that apparently the force middle is like kryptonite for the Canberrans.
So Frendo now works with Prosser. Very far away. Again, having to opt for the field, but squeezes it inside back and bobble and drop by Bolton.
He's had it, and then he didn't have it.
Sorry, that was Humphreys, yeah, with... it was a good look, though, that the stall count rising, that inside channel, but very zippy throw just slips in and out of the hands of Humphreys. Umami now sensing an opportunity. They work it up. Hodson now just works the disc around. You can hear Umami calling for some structure downfield. Oh, and slips through the hands. Hodson with a layout and a save. And not quite on the completion there. So Rosie Happ asked to do a little bit too much. That was an opportunity gone begging.
Yeah, location on the frisbee, not good. Down and away.
Spectacular lay, though.
Well, he saved the offense on the first one.
And a big shot goes up. Balasa left all alone in the deep space. As the cavalry arrives, there's a call on the throw before. So it's a travel called on the huck.
It'll come back.
So everyone's got to slowly walk all the way back to when the throw went up. Oh, Balasa, she had so much space and time there. She goes, oh, do I really have to go for another effort?
Some brass by Prosser. Taps it in. Have some of this. Ooh.
Oh, miscommunication, and that was almost a Callahan opportunity. But the scraps picked up Humphries. Not much space at all here. Prosser, it is a danger zone for Wagon, and Prosser just stops the disc from touching the grass. This one is out of bounds. McCarthy dies for the last-ditch attempt.
This is the look that Umami wanted. They've got the turnover now. Short field situation. Miriam Downey will pick this up, and they're deep in the red zone.
And surely, second time of asking. Too many players on the open side, and the break is covered. And now she goes a high sort option. Hodson, communication breakdown by the defense. And Umami, they score an unlikely break.
Well, sometimes it just works out. It was ugly as it looked like Hodgson clogged the open side space, and there was a free cutter behind him. It works out in the end and ends up in his hands as Downey throws the score.
It's a timeout called by Wagon, it seems. And you can see the score count is rising, so she had to go for a bit of a last-ditch attempt, did Miriam Downey. But I think the defenders thought that the job was done. They'd covered the first perhaps 7 stall counts on the open side and went sniffing a bit too greedy for the block. In the end, Hodson recognises the space was unprotected. And Downey does the wise shot, throwing it to the big target in Hodson.
So Umami starting to have some success now against Wagon defense. I think Wagon working in a short field situation, not what you want defensively. You need more space to work. Because I think guarding 2 or 3 passes, hard.
Yeah, there were a few shots, I think Prosser and Humphries there, they were just barely completed. They did very well to get it out of that end zone in the end. But just the dangerous field position, I think, playing on their minds a little. And it ebbs and flows in this game. Patches where, it feels like Wagon was on top for a fair while. But the thing is, in sports like Ultimate, sometimes even if you aren't playing your best, you can still eke out those points, get those completions. Counts for a lot.
And they do, and you need to maintain possession of the Frisbee, and sometimes you just need a good structure to help get you out of a tough spot. I think for Wagon in that situation where they're towards the back of their own end zone, it all fell apart. And there was no structure. It was very much just washing machine style offense. And perhaps something for them to reflect on, as that does happen. You do get in tough spots, and that's the times where you need your structures to help get you out of them, so you don't end up in situations where we're up some breaks and now you're back on evens.
Yeah, so just opting for a match. Oh, that one is thrown just behind Lavis. So Umami now just having to hold steady as much as possible, stem the tide of the Wagon team. They now look down the barrel of potentially a second break straight.
Big for Umami if they can get this.
Ooh, and a lot of heated defense by Balasa there. But Hap goes a high release over the top backhand and make the score count. That is Umami up 2 break points in a row.
Great for them. They have really hold this over now and changed the complexity of the game. With Wagon, just too many turns in situations where there's not enough field to defend. I think that the defense give themselves more space to work with. They're going to have more success, and certainly on offense, they need to make more progress down the field at the moment. Umami have come up with some good answers. And it doesn't look like it's been particularly anything different, just continuing to maintain their intensity on defense, continuing to run hard, stay close.
Yep.
And it's creating some opportunities for them that they're taking.
Just continuing to grind, right? I think with, like we said, sometimes you don't have to play pretty, right? You don't have to play your best, but you still grind out potentially some wins or stay in it. And then you know that your time will come, right? Because there's very few teams who can sustain the high amount of intensity or elite level frisbee for the full game. And when you have those opportunities, you take them. And they have, right? I felt like it was so unlikely. They looked like they weren't really playing well, or it looks like Wagon had the momentum and they eke out 2 breaks in a row and they're back in it. Oh.
Humongous.
I think that's just landed out of bounds.
Yeah, that's an 80-yard throw there. Yeah, horizontal stack for Newcastle. They're going to give it a shot themselves. And from the brick mark, Luke Prosser. I think they may have been better served with a vertical. Because, yeah, the sag into the lane just prevents any kind of deep shot. Lavis actually finds an angle now. And Lavis down the road to Jake Winchester. Jeez, Lavis is playing well today. Another assist for him.
Very well done. So Wagon scoring an efficient hold, which is what we like to see. Certainly a steadying one after getting broken 2 points on the trot. And the ever-reliable Lavis now just throws a big shot. And it's interesting, early in the game, I felt like both teams were looking for those long options in the deep space. It's been kind of stifled a little bit by both defenses. So this time, forcing the issue here, Lavis. That flat mark, the big, long arms of the defender trying to deter that one. But in the end, just pinpoint accuracy despite some hard-fought defense there.
Dane Kluken and Winchester, they know each other well. Play each other a couple of times this season, both single gender and also here at Mixed Nats.
So pull received. Sanger works with his comrade in Bethune. A lot of movement downfield, but the options not favoured by the handlers. So it's just Sanger and Bethune working so far together. Joyce attacks the underspace. Again, lots of movement, but they're just not liking the looks. And Chen Ouellette now gets involved. Sanger back in the space here, trying to work through a bit of a handler weave between the three.
Yeah, McKee and Bolton trying to do their best to stop this, and they're doing a pretty good job. At the moment, there's a number of passes so far. Umami only to halfway.
Yeah, and they cycle through now. One and Joyce in the backfield, but Bethune again. And they are doing that force middle, which is why a lot of the disc is going back where it came. But a scuba over the top somehow lands in the lap. Don't know how that score happened. Umami with a clean hold, but a bit of a dirty scuba to get there.
Yeah, that was... I'm surprised it came off. Great reception by Justin Byron to adjust when the disc is in the air. Bethune just lobbing one up there.
Yeah, you see that one. There's not too much spin on the disc, so it dies early, but Bolton just able to read that one ahead of the defender. So get a nice angle here. So Umami now getting a little bit of ascendancy in this game.
You feel like the momentum is definitely sitting with Umami at the moment as Newcastle still looking for answers. The Pie Wagon there.
And the rain has stopped for a moment as well, Daniel. So a little bit more clean here on some of those throws and catches.
Still quite greasy. Rained pretty much the entire time overnight last night. So the field's moist. Disc slippery.
Big pull goes up by Rosie Happ. McCarthy receives up to Lavis. Oh, and a very close defensive effort by Umami there. Humphreys engages the dump of Lavis. And a nice cut downfield, but that's a very flat, long option. Red, but there is a call and a pick, it looks like. It was an ambitious throw by Lavis. I thought it was going to slice a few heads off on the way.
I can tell you exactly what happened there. Chris Lavis actually has an interesting grip. He throws with his middle finger extended on the backhand, and it looked like it slipped. So, because he's only got 3 fingers on the inside of the rim instead of 4, it does tend to sometimes come out not so with less revs, and it can be a little bit flat. Oh, there we go. They're going to flip it in.
Pie Wagon do well to secure a score there to McCarthy. She's worked so hard all game. Gets a goal and a reward for effort.
This is one of those interesting things. Chris Lavis, probably one of the best throwers cross genders, and that his backhand grip gives him such an ability to throw to any receiver. He always just seems to get it in the right spot, and I think that his grip has a lot to do with it, but it is unusual because more often than not we either teach index finger along the rim and then your 3 other fingers around the rim, or 4 fingers on the rim, thumb on top. So it's worked for him for many, many years, and I still believe one of the best throwers to have done it. And if you're a male matching player, a lot to learn from him when it comes to being able to throw to anyone.
Yeah, very interesting. I mean, it's not about how you get there. It's that the result is a good one. And Umami are hoping the result does go their way in this game. Apple up to Joyce. Full extension there with the left hand. And they move it across to the far side. Umami, there's a lot of players close to the disc at the moment. They now spread it out. Oh, and Chen Ouellette. Oh, and a double D for Jake Winchester, making sure that disc goes to ground and a couple of meters gained as well. McKee, lefty, engages Bolton. And hard work by Renica now on the open side. McKee fakes it off, but throws that lovely inside channel with a high release backhand. And Winchester also uses the break side, moves it up and over the defender. Michael McKee with the score, and Pie Wagon peg a break point up.
Love to see that out of Mike McKee, just understanding the situation, knowing that the space is there, and then a perfect throw, I think, by Sarah Sanders, as one was right on McKee's heels, and if that throw came out low, he's probably got it covered. The throw instead is up high to the advantage of McKee, and then McKee just climbs on up there, gets himself a score.
Yeah, so
Great stuff.
yeah, not like you said, a small breeze, but right now pretty still at the moment. So the throwers not having to contend with wind nor rain as we head into the latter parts of this game. It is 4 breaks apiece, so we are on serve here at the moment. And feels like it could be anyone's game, really, Daniel.
Well, 2 points ago, we were talking about how we felt it was very much Umami who had the momentum, but that momentum has been wrestled away from them. And Wagon are hanging tough right now. They're turning in a very gritty performance, and Umami, they're going to have to be equally gritty.
Yeah, Bethune now moving it well along with Joyce and Sanger. So again, looking for a bit of a wig, but Bolton comes back in support. Feels like his impact has been minimised a little bit through this game. So maybe someone that Umami want to get back in the action as Apple in the thick of it. Sanger, Apple. Vertical stack, not much movement. Again, they're cutting from the front. Bethune and a big pick called upfield.
I think we need to realise for Umami that the force is force middle. There's an injury being called, actually.
Yeah, Bethune coming off. I didn't see any incidents, so we'll have to check in to see what's going on a bit later, but looks like Juan is coming on to substitute.
Bethune just walking straight to the physio tent. So, I don't know.
And
Oh, he's gesturing to his hamstring.
right. Oh, never nice to see those soft tissues. Interestingly, Britt McCarthy has been subbed off. So Juan with the disc. Looks for Apple. Eventually does hit her. Hodson asking for the disc, and to Joyce. Almost Hodson, almost bubbles that one out, but Umami make it work. A tasty hold in the end.
Nice pun there. Umami, of course, being one of the tastes. The flavour.
5 flavours, I think?
Well, Umami was recently added. By recently, I mean since I went to primary school. It's interesting how Umami are approaching their offense. Right, they're working against a force middle, which means that like width out the other way. But they're insisting on jamming it right where the stack is. And whilst it's working, I'm just not convinced. I feel like it's fraught. And
Yeah.
it's got, like, Hodgson there has made a hot catch under pressure.
A spicy catch.
Yep. And I think that it's a limited amount of time before they are left with a sour taste in their mouth.
But will it pay sweet, sweet dividends if they come out on top in this game, Daniel?
Well, look, it could end up bitter for them.
Could end up with a bit of a sour taste if they don't get the
Are you sour?
Shockies. A nice floater there on the pull. McCarthy and Prosser together. And the cutter's set up very spread out for Wagon. And eventually they get a nice gainer through Balasa. Oh, she goes a big backhand huck searching for Prosser, but the defensive effort goes the way of Umami. So a bit of a rush of blood to the head there by Balasa. I mean, it was a good option, but the execution wasn't quite there. I don't think there was enough separation from the defender to really make that successful.
I think Prosser was too far down the field to make that throw. You've got to throw it a long way out in front if you're going to do it.
Schmidt. Oh, that one's too low to the ground for Schmidt to trap. And a very short field. Wagon get another shot here.
Prosser will pick it up for them.
Humphreys Keeps it low to McCarthy. Oh, and she slips it through. Will that one be called in?
Adam Frendo in the end zone again. He's gone to ground.
Turnover is
Okay.
signalled, I think.
We'll go the other way. Umami now. We'll pick it up and have a go. Critical point potentially here.
A long option. That is a miss. Throw slips early out of the hands. Might be a bit of a bitter taste here for Umami here. Again, the high risk, high rewards not paying dividends.
And that's not it. That's not the play there. You just need to go to work. You're in the corner. Just get it off the sideline and let your offense go to work. Now, they've just given it straight back to Wagon.
Wagon now confidently cycling through. As you said, a lot of throwing skill across the entire team. They're forced back. The stack needs to adjust their position. They're very far away. And Prosser demanding the disc ahead of Hodson. And he goes a long option. McCarthy in the space. She's got steps. She nudged her defender under the disc. Grabs it with one mitt. And Britt McCarthy pulls ahead for Newcastle Wagon.
Absolutely incredible by two of Newcastle's biggest stars, Britt McCarthy and Luke Prosser, combining in a big way. That's a huge throw, a massive throw over the top. It goes to the break side of the field. So McCarthy, talking about location on the disc earlier in the game, how low and away was not it. And here it's up and to the break side so that it screens the defender off the line of the disc. You can see here as Prosser looking, winds up, and then that outside in throw leaves the defender with no play on the frisbee, as McCarthy, just the athlete that she is always going to go track that down.
And you can't see it on the close angle here, but McCarthy kind of led her defender under the flight path of the disc, which meant she had even more separation to make that an easy reception in the end. Well, I say easy, but she had to go with one hand and full extension.
Still took some work, didn't it?
Yeah, very smart
She made
work.
it look easy.
She made it look easy. Yeah, that's right. That's what the pros do.
So
it is game point here.
yeah.
However, Umami will be starting on offense. So we'll see if they can push through to extend this game. If Wagon score, be game over here. And conditions very still. No rain at the moment. Sanger and Sleeth. Apple now strikes up line. And she goes a long option, but that was very well read by Winchester. He anticipated that throw, got in the space, sped up to make sure that the offense had no more space to work with.
So Jake Winchester just making the adjustment. A couple of times today he's been beat over the top. So he's just playing a bit closer here, and he played it all the way. He knew it was coming. And then nothing there for Byron to do.
And
Superb.
I feel like we called Byron's name a lot earlier in this game, but he hasn't been so apparent. So maybe Winchester playing a really tight defensive matchup has taken him out. McKee on the corner here. Upline to McCarthy. Across to McKee. Prosser working hard with the undercut. Oh, and a diving bid. Not quite. Winchester still. Oh, a fantastic shot. A very close bid by Sanger. And Wagon maintain their composure despite the heated defense from Umami. Oh, lovely inside space and attack there. Beautiful work. McKee, oh, that one too wide for McCarthy. So after looking so comfortable, a couple of spicy bids, shall we say, from Umami, having a little bit of that psychological presence there, forcing that turnover.
That's a coach killer. If they had a coach, he'd be dead. Or she'd be dead.
Apple, Joyce, oh, fine, Sleeth, all on her own. Hodgson. Sleeth is making a long cut. Hodgson looks, waits, dumps. And Joyce working ever so hard in that under space. Apple now emerges through on the doorstep. Can Umami extend this game? Apple goes a forehand upstairs to the Hodgson. Defender caught face marking, and Umami level it up. 14 all. We are 2 for 2 universe points so far on day one of the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships.
Lots of positives for both teams, but lots to work on, I think. You'll see Wagon have done a great job just stopping the offense, and then it's a great throw. High stall situation, understanding the situation, knowing what needed to happen. We've got a timeout, and I think, gee, it could have been so many different ways in this game. To fetch up here at Universe Point, you think, I think both teams will go away and they will look at kind of what has happened in this game, and I think there's a couple of really key moments where it's been defense or offense, and they've just kind of gone away from what was giving them success, and it's opened the door back up for the other team, and I think it applies equally to both Umami and Wagon. So on balance, whoever wins here is sure going to take those points. However, in the broader scheme of things, I think a really good hit out, because they can learn so much, I think, from this game. And I think it'll make them even more fierce competitors as we head deeper into the tournament. And they'll only see half the bracket. So they'll play against the 3 other teams in Pool B, and then head to bracket play, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. So the pool play matches determining where they fall in their pool, and therefore determining the quarterfinal matchups. As we said, there are only 8 teams here in the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships Division 1. We've got a very large Division 2 contingent. I think it's a bit of awkward timing with the World Beach Ultimate Championships getting underway next week. So a lot of the beach players away and unable to participate in this tournament, which is meant for a slightly smaller number here, but either way, some high quality still.
Only 8 teams, where it's usually 12. So 4 entire teams missing for 2025. But like you say, a huge Div 2.
And Umami up with the pull. Can Wagons hold this point to win on Universe? Balasa always present in this underspace. Can hear the voices for Umami getting involved from the sideline. Oh, there are about 3 players to choose from, but Prosser comes up with it. He throws a big one. All alone. Oh, and the deflection there. Umami. They earn possession on Universe Point. Just too much air by Prosser under that disc, looking for McKee.
Previously, we've seen these deep throws be a little bit flatter and harder. This one just too much up in the air. Gives Dane Kluken time to track it down.
A little unlucky. The wind also just gusted up as well as the throw went up.
I mean, McKee's in so much space. It needs to be flatter and harder. It needs to get there quicker because it hung up there. And Kluken, who is a speedy individual, managed to make it to the point of attack.
Hodgson, a nice undercut. Wants the open side. Oh, that one's too far in front of Schmidt. Pieback can get a second crack. McCarthy points. And she throws. Humphreys, Prosser. McCarthy, far side.
I feel that Prosser and McCarthy need to take control right now. They need to stand up for Wagon.
Humphreys across to McCarthy. She continues to point. She wants that side, but the cut is not quite there. A nice 1-2 work. Prosser on the doorstep, and Balassa with the score, and Wagon win on Universe point.
Yeah, through McCarthy into Prosser's hands. Prosser throws the goal. Wagon, they've done it in the end, 15-14. What a game that was. It had everything.
Twists and turns aplenty. Some interesting offensive structures, defensive adjustments, some shutdown on some key players. And Wagon, albeit with the much smaller roster, they make it work. Very efficient in the end. They come up trumps. As you said, a storied history between the Newcastle players and Canberra community. But what a way to start today. 2 Universe points on the stream. Make sure you stay tuned for plenty more action. The next game is starting at 1 p.m. local time, so just shy of 25 minutes away. Stay tuned to Ulti TV in partnership with the Australian Flying Disc Association. See you for the next game.
Ulti.tv